Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of the MCR. Mac and me. My name's TJ. In this segment, we're going to talk about something that met with Biden at the White House. They had a little picturesque scene with the fireplace going in the background. I saw it and I thought that's probably gas. But anyways, while that was going on between Trump and Donald Trump and Joe Biden, the first ladies were, I guess, it was like, what do you call it? Tea time. They were, kind of,
Yeah.
uh, the word escapes me. Tradition. Tradition has, while the president elect meets the sitting president, the first lady and the soon to be first lady have their tea time. Well, Melania said no, I'm not going. And in fact, it was reported as a snub. And it bothered me in the way in which it was said as if, couldn't, I got the impression, Mac, and how I don't know how you interpreted it. Shame on Melania for snubbing Jill, you know?
Well, one of the things they do is get a tour of the White House. Well, she doesn't need a tour of the White House.
Well,
Another reason not to go.
as I was reading news reports, I kept seeing something pop up. And it was to the effect of Melania is still not over the Mar-a-Lago raid. So it's being reported. Of course, you take news and print with a grain of salt nowadays, but I'm thinking there just might be something to this. And what I mean by that is because there's an unnamed source, and it said, I'd like to get this right here. Mrs. Trump will not be attending today's meeting at the White House. Her husband's return to the Oval Office to commence the transition process is encouraging. She wishes him great success. Then it said, she ain't going. Joe Biden's husband authorized FBI snooping through her underwear drawer. The Bidens are disgusting. Joe Biden isn't someone Melania needs to meet. I don't know if people have really connected all the dots here. And here's where I'm going with all this stuff here. Melania is Slovenian, which is the western end of the old Czechoslovakia, which was a Warsaw Pact nation when the Soviet Union was in existence. So basically, back during the Soviet Union era, we'll say, back in the old Soviet days, Czechoslovakia was ruled by a communist dictatorship. How much you want to bet Melania Trump, from her parents and grandparents, have heard all sorts of stories about the ruthlessness of what it's like living under a communist dictatorship. And why do I mention that? Well, let's just go back to Melania Trump not being happy with the FBI going through her panties at the Mar-a-Lago raid. Now, could she not have been thinking, gee, this is what my family fled over there in Eastern Europe?
Yeah.
And now here she is in what's supposed to be a free country, putting up with that bovine excrement. Thoughts, Mac, on what this I just said?
I can tell you how intrusive it was. I know in Poland, when John Paul II, before he became Pope, he was a cardinal in Poland, in Warsaw, and they used to tape his listening to people's confessions in an effort to get him and them. That's how bad it was.
Well, I get fired up in going down this whole memory lane type thing. Coming full circle back to her snubbing Jill Biden.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
she was saying he was Hitler just a week ago.
Yeah, and also she's not over the fact there's been assassination attempts on her husband's life because of the vilification, the demonizing of her husband, lying about him. I mean, no one's perfect. Yeah. There's some baggage with Donald Trump from the 1980s and whatnot. Who doesn't have baggage? I would tell you. But you know, as far as him being Hitler and a fascist and a this and a that and a wink and a nod to anyone out there who wants to take him out, you know, and then to have to stand there and helplessly witness an out of control law enforcement agency go through your panties, you know?
Well, I'm sure if I've had this thought, she's had this thought. Had Donald Trump been killed in Pennsylvania, by not turning his head this much, they probably would have tried to deny him a presidential funeral.
Probably. So, and I keep going back to the whole she's snubbing Jill. So what? And if you want to use the word snub, so be it, I say. Okay.
Couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less. And you know what? Bravo to Mrs. Trump, Melania Trump.
Melania didn't run up to him at the end of the debate and said, "Oh, Donald, you answered all the questions. You're a good boy. Let's get an ice cream."
Well, this is just something that's been gnawing at me, and I wanted to kind of connect the dots on all of this because I don't know if people fully realize, why all this was such a big deal to poor Melania, and yeah, there could be some supposition and theory on my part, but her family comes from a communist, ex-communist controlled country, and you talk to anyone, well, why are they in this country? Well, because they wanted to get away from that crap,
Yeah.
So that's just the gist of it all. So
well, I'll tell you one thing here is that she's probably fully aware of that's what they want to go back to.
Oh yeah.
They want that for this country.
That's it for now. Thanks everyone. We'll catch you in the next segment. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.